we should be. Wait, it's taking a little while.
It's streaming live. It said it's streaming live now.
Streaming?
I ain't get the alert yet, but yeah.
Okay, what's good, fam? We should be live right now.
Yeah, we in the building.
Good.
Gucci. Streaming live. It said it's streaming live now.
Yeah, we good. We good to go.
I ain't get the alert yet, but yeah.
Okay, what's good, fam? Let me turn this down. All right, what's good? Moon.
Gucci. Streaming live.
Yeah. We good to go.
I ain't get the alert yet, but yeah. Okay, what's good, fam?
Turn that down real quick.
My bad.
All right, let me just give a shout out to some of these businesses while I'm gonna let the people fill in the chat room. Shout out, of course, to Eye-Magi-Nation Workshop family. We got so many things going on right now. Like I told you before, the only way out of this is in. Inside, we got the whole universe. We got all the answers inside of us. So we got to learn how to tap into something that's within us that's going to give us and guide us through all of this that's going on right now. We're going to have an update soon. They just recently made some changes in New York and I guess all over the country about social distances. So I'm going to keep y'all alerted as to what exactly. We might have to make it a webinar. I'm not sure yet, but y'all can stay tuned for that announcement, but it will go down. Shout out to Lisa Brown with the Comedic yoga mats. Everybody's going to get their yoga mat and get their yoga on.
Yeah, okay. Shout out to Lisa.
Shout out to Parindra Raja Deep. If you need some follicle stimulation and your hairline look like LeBron James,
yes,
you might want to holler at them. Also, King Simon. I told y'all at the very beginning of the year when I did my first fast with KT, he said, Rich, you on the right frequency. This year is all about health. That's the theme. And the brother was right. So shout out to King Simon. We need people like this in our life to guide us and let us know exactly what's going on in the energy that's in the ether. Make sure you'll call that brother. Also, Happy Film. Make sure you go to happyfilm.com. This is going to be an amazing documentary coming out real soon. Also, Smart Tawi. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah. But they have yoga certification classes, and it's I believe it's online, so you might want to call them. All this is dealing with health, by the way. So health is a theme this year. Yoga, numerology, shit. I mean, wow, there's some good stuff here, y'all. Also, shout out. Okay, that's it. All right, yeah. So that's it. Let's start the show. Let me see what's going on. Man, welcome back, Blue and Red, man. Welcome back to the platform, brothers.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's always an honor to be here on the platform. Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Red. Make sure you go cop Red's Garvey hoodies. Red was making fun of me because my lighting ain't good and you can't see the glitter.
So yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I need to see that drip going off. I need to see that drip going off.
But this one right here is fire. This one right here is fire, y'all. I mean, fire. I get stopped.
Black on black.
Wherever I go, they stop me. And they be like, yo, where you got that from? And I give them Red's Instagram and tell them they can look at the fashion there or whatever. But shout out to my brother Red with the hoodies, man. But what's going on in the chat room, y'all? Let me see what y'all talking about right now. Listen, let's start out with this Electronica, man. The whole hip hop world been waiting on this brother to release this album for so long. We was like, what the hell happened to him? He finally came through, and he came through in the midst of chaos going on.
Yes.
You know what's funny? In Exhibit C, he made references to Corona. You know that? In Exhibit C?
Get out of here.
Yeah, he made references to damn.
Corona Queens?
Nah, he was like, I'm trapped inside of Corona or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
you know, there's a saying where they say that Allah is the best planner. Allah is the best of planners.
Allah is the best of planners, and Allah is also synonymous with timing. And also, you know, his vicegerent or his messengers on this plane and this planet are specific with time. You know, the messenger Elijah Muhammad wrote a book called The Theology of Time.
Right.
And so I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but I'll get into my dissertation. At a time like this, when even we see the we see the messenger in a new light because of the documentary with Malcolm X. People have seen the messenger in a way in which they've never seen the messenger. And I think that any attempt to besmirch the messenger kind of backfired because people were able to see him in a glorified state as a quote unquote leader, as someone who people, you know, who had his thing together. And his message was so strong that it still resonates in this modern day. You know, he's still raising people from the grave. So in a timely fashion, he has formed a student to come forward with a messenger. He, you know, Jay Electronica has a message that edifies the messenger. You know what I'm saying? And that's a continuum because the messenger came forward with information that was edifying, you know, where he got his message from. And it's a long line of a continuance of a narrative that we always find ourselves associated with in any scripture, in any book, right? So I lined that up. You should ask the next question, Saka.
Indeed. Before we get started, I just got somebody just hit me up. The Fast with KT, the brother is working on the list right now. So for everybody that signed up so far, you will probably get the list Monday or Tuesday the latest. So it's a CMOS immunity boost fast. You will get this. It's a thorough food list. And the brother's putting all his energy into it, but you should have that by Monday. So if you signed up, be patient. The brother will have that Monday. I'm gonna send out the email as soon as I get it, and we're gonna stay in touch and contact every day from there on in. But
yes, I will be in that fast. Shout out to KT.
Shout
out to everybody that was on the last fast. Shout out to you, Brother Rich, for running with that idea and making it born.
Having me up when the sun rise, you know what I'm saying? For introducing me to the of the West.
Red gave me the idea to do that. We need to do it again this time around. So yeah, Red be having them ideas. We got to do a whole. Me and Red got a whole interview plan about something and this new business venture that he's getting ready to engage into. That I think the brother's one of the best out there in. But y'all can stay tuned for that. But in terms of this Jay Electronica and the Nation of Islam, Blue always talk about years ago. You talked about how when it went from Islam to Christianity, how hip hop changed. Yes, hip hop was in its raw, pure form when, you know, the Nation of Gods and Earths or whatever was in charge of hip hop. Seeing Jay Electronica do this, do you think that people will follow suit? Do you think that this is going to create a new wave or create a new frequency in hip hop?
Coupled with the fact that the social paradigm has changed, which is going to change the social conversation. People want truth right now. You know, the theme of the end of days is resonating in a lot of people's minds and their hearts. I'm not necessarily saying that that's what we're looking at, but we are looking at the ending of an era and the ending of an epoch, right? And the churning of a new page. We're not going to come out of this the same people, right? We're going to come out of the situation and things are going to be unidentifiable. So what he represents, yes, it's almost like a Sankofa aspect. It's a new particular conversation. It's an old conversation that people have been awaiting on and sitting on their hands. I would say since Rakim, because ain't nobody do it with the purity, right? That he has done it. He ain't put no cut on that. You didn't hear no disrespecting of women. I don't even really think I heard curses.
No, I don't think so.
You feel me? So high vibrational quarantine music, I think that that is going to cause a spike. Now, nothing is monolithic without people or with hip hop. So a quarantine or a period of time like this when fear is at an all-time high, people are going to be looking for escapism as well. The liquor stores is popping, sex workers is popping, the Zanny man, the pill man is popping, the weed man is popping, the coke man, everybody, you know, that has vices is popping. So you're gonna also get music that coincides and accompanies that. They're gonna try to take people's attention off of what's going on, but there's gonna be an appetite for commentary and information and putting God back in the music, right?
Mm.
You have to understand that, you know, you can't really point to an entire project, an album that was so heavily anticipated and waited for like this, that interjects the conversation of God in the music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Indeed. Now this situation,
My brother,
yeah,
please.
yeah,
Yeah.
brother.
So, yeah, it's interesting that the brother, you know, chose to do what I termed Watch the Throne Part 2. I kind of called that months ago.
You did.
Huh?
You did.
Yeah, for the record, I kind of called that out. And just knowing the trajectory of Jay-Z and you know, the growth that he's exhibiting through the music, and knowing who was behind the scenes the whole time, you know, steering things, you know what I mean? And the impact that this project is gonna have is more so on the Generation Xers, people of my demographics and the ones who were born like in the 60s, who've been following their adherence to the gospel of Hove. You know what I mean? Their adherence to, you know, they understand, they can see the picture of, you know, a certain movement moving, and it's going to invigorate the MCs of the heavy Islamic faith, which happen to be a few in the industry. You know, there are a few of them that are of that scene. It seems that a lot of brothers in the industry, when they get in a certain tax bracket, or they get into a certain kind of circle, you know, they begin to adopt that faith. But I think that he delivered a good album. The timing was impeccable, right? It landed exactly at the right time. You know, it couldn't have landed at any other time. It's a concept album. It's like a purple tape, right? It's his version of a purple tape. He got Jay as Ghost, you know what I'm saying? But he delivered Jay, and you know, his thing is he's delivering Jay. The real album is the Jay-Z album that's coming. That'll be the one. But he's delivering him up to the, you know, to the people through the nation. You know.
Hip hop. Hip hop is about competition, and one of the Joe Budden said that Jay-Z outshined Jay Electronica on his own album. What do you think about that statement about Jay outshining Jay Electronica on the album?
Well, you got to keep in mind that, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Energy never die, and energy never lies, and energy never dies.
For what it's worth.
Huh?
For what it's worth, right?
For what it's worth.
If you're saying, look, I'm handing you over the whole the embodiment of the concept of what we've been talking about with a God MC. Now I am bringing this person to God directly, and no longer you can't cut it one or two ways. It is what it is, right? It's on the table. You can't cut it or slice it other than what it is. You see what I'm saying? That was fuel for the mothership. Now, how people choose to utilize it and take it and you know, to be inspired to do whatever they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to ask, well, what does hip hop do? You know what I'm saying? Is it music? Is it a good tune? Is it something for you to bop your head for? Or is it inspiration? You know what I'm saying? Is it inspiration? Does it allow you to think on different levels and make different choices in life? Because we've identified the fact that these lyrics have directed people in so many other directions. You know what I'm saying? The person who is most responsible for curating cool in our world has now giving you know, he has given a cosign to this particular demonstration. So if Jay Electronica had to sacrifice his you know, him being the dominant voice on his own project to deliver Jay-Z into the quote unquote into the right hand side as opposed to the left hand side. And this was a counterbalance of light and dark. There was dark in the album. Let's not pretend that it was all light. You dig what I'm saying? But it was a perfect pairing. And you know, if you get Son to come out of his shell and go bananas, I mean, sometimes you just got to step back in awe, because at the end of the day, Jay Electronica is still a fan.
And let me just share this one thing too. It was a session. The album is a session. You dig what I'm saying? So it's a session. It's them playing beats, and Jay, like on the last beat when he's mumbling, you know, the lyrics, he's like, I don't know if this is the right beat. And then it's really the right beat, you know, which is to me the best song on the album. ADIPTA. The slow song about
that shit was that's a real soulful. That's a real soulful.
Not only is it a soulful song at a time when they recorded it the night that Kobe died, right?
Yeah.
So not only is it a soulful song, but it's a song that is right on time because of what 2020 represents and what the future is looking like with all of this loss. You know, there's so many deaths going on. And, you know, that's, to me, that song right there, that's a Grammy right there. Like that song right there captured it captured a feeling for me. And when you don't really got to rap and you don't have to, you ain't worrying about, it's minimalism. They on a artsy shit. They on a, you know, they on a artistic rap shit. So when you don't have to structure, you know, the hook and all of this other stuff, and you're not even trying to rhyme on shit, you know, and it works. I like things like that, you know. So you're dealing with this aspect of, you know, Jay pairing up with, you know, Jay Electronica, adding value, right, to something that doesn't necessarily have a value marker to it. You know what I'm saying? And them bringing it into a different place.
Time to bring up the ball. You're gonna respect us.
Now, hold on. Now there's a concept.
That respect wasn't there.
Huh? Say it again?
I said, what did he open up the album with? Next time you bring up the guards, you're gonna respect us. And I said that respect was not there.
That's
right?
Right.
That narrative needed that cosign.
That's facts.
Let me ask y'all this. So Blue just said Jay-Z is responsible. This man in the last, Jay been popping since what, 90 what?
3.
Nah, when he's not that's 2 9.
No.
Doubt came out in 1996.
96, right?
96.
All right, so Jay's he's ran rap for a long time, curated, like Blue said, cool for a very long time. And they might say he was doing it, but y'all get the point I'm trying to make. But to have him co-sign Jay Electronica, and for us to keep in mind, if we study patterns in hip hop, whenever somebody mentions anything related to you know, Jewish people, they seem to be condemned immediately. The Locks had the song "Stack Chips Like Hebrew." They won't even say that, and that's not even an insult. They blur that out the radio. What's the young 21 Savage?
Yes.
He made about a comment about kosher or something like that. Got in trouble immediately. Had to apologize. LeBron James, I think, apologized because he quoted the lyrics and he was like, he didn't mean nothing by it. But we see this trend where, you know, you pretty much can't mention nothing about the Jewish people or their faith within hip hop. And a lot of people feel as though it's because they control the record labels in hip hop. But for Jay-Z to go and co-sign a brother who has the Minister Louis Farrakhan, who they all think is anti-Semitic, and to co-sign Jay Electronica, do you think that's a risky move by Jay-Z? And how do you see this playing out?
It's definitely it's a risk involved. Yes, it's definitely a risk involved. And you know, it would appear that he's been waiting for this moment for a long time, you know what I'm saying, to you know, to grab his nuts, if you will. And make claims that sound good on wax, but they're gonna have to play out in life. You know what I'm saying? And he's saying he's ready for the smoke. You know what I mean? But you put your family in jeopardy, you put your fortune in jeopardy, you put your career in jeopardy, you put a lot of things in jeopardy by walking into that light, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Some people might say it's not as deep as that, Brother Blue. And I'm like, we've seen this story before. You know what I mean? We've seen this story before. And what he's saying in so many words is, I'm autonomous. Who else but me? I'm in a position that I can say these things. And this is actually what I worked for. Because truth be told, lo and behold, I knew all this information all along. I've been on this frequency and this wave. You know what I'm saying? I just put the flag in my back pocket so I could get to the billion. So now I can empower this conversation at a time when it's needed and necessary the most. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He's like, who better than Hov? You know, look what I cooked up. And as a result of it, you know what I mean? You have this particular offering in such a timely fashion to help you through this thing. You know, when prior to this, what do you have? What's your paddle? Because you're going up street. So what's your paddle? Right? Little Uzi Vert ain't gonna do it for you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need a soundtrack to get through this. You feel me? And to me, because of where I'm at in my life, I'm saying, yo, that soundtrack has to have the divine creator in it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So Rosenberg from Hot 97, Peter Rosenberg, got offended. I think this isn't the first time he got offended by Jay Electronica, but the term "the synagogue of Satan" that was used on the album. Let me just read this real quick. As a Jew, it put me in a bad position. I can't ignore the fact that I instantly felt a pang of discomfort and offense and basically sell out my culture, or I can be accused of being a Jewish media hating on this man, but it's how I felt the line offended me. And the line he's talking about is when Jay said, my feet might fail me, my heart might ail me, the synagogues of Satan might accuse or jail me. Rosenberg also went on to say, it has been so long since hip hop has done that to me. It used to be commonplace for songs to have lines that were iffy and made me feel like, damn, does this artist hate Jews? Not in a minute though. So thanks for throwing it back, Jay. Let me just say it. The imagery of Satan devil around Jews speak to a really deep, intrinsic, and dangerous anti-Semitism that has personally affected me for my whole life. It's actually quite different than a lot of bigotry. It's specific to us. It's the kind of rhetoric that led to the Holocaust. So, yeah. With those comments, how do you feel about? Yeah. What'd you say?
You're being extra emotional. You know what I'm saying? But Red, set it off.
Well, first and foremost, you know, he has some nerve talking about what he don't like hearing in the song, but did he ever send out a tweet saying, hey, I just heard this song, the 100th song that I heard this week about young black men killing each other. I'm a little uncomfortable with these lyrics. I just saw a video with him where he was interviewing Fabio about his Big Drip song, about, you know, not to take anything away from Fabio, but, you know, that's basically a gang song.
Right.
So him and his media pals are the multi-billion-dollar investors. He's not only an investor, he's actually in bed with the program director, this Ebro, right? But he's the news, he's the press, he's the media that pushes the songs. He hypes them. He says who's hot and who's not, you know.
Right.
And their track record of who's hot is not a conscious MC. It's not an MC who, there's hundreds of them who was spitting like how Jay-Z was spitting and how Jay Electronica. There's hundreds of them that try to get recognized and just mentioned and just interviewed by Peter Rosenberg, but he ignores them and they get behind all of the people who are the sisters that are, you know, with the Cardi B swag or the Nicki Minaj run, you know, it's.
Let me co-sign that because Peter Rosenberg took up where Stretch Armstrong and Barbito left off. In particular, Stretch Armstrong. So they have the internal cabal of, you know, Jewish gatekeepers and button pushers. Because Stretch Armstrong went to porn, right, to exploit young black women who wanted to sell their body on camera, and Rosenberg and them filled that slot up with the hip hop. So he represents this, this archetype of, once again, they're supposed to be the curators of cool because they're Jewish and cultured. You dig what I'm saying? But they never, so the job that Rosenberg has is he's the late night. He was getting all of the backpacker CDs. He was getting all of the underground CDs, right? On his late night show. That's how he popped off initially. So he was getting what you call real hip hop coming through his channel. You dig what I'm saying? And those are not the artists that he edified on any platforms and made them pop off. He didn't pick one and ride with them. He got with the wave. And he, just like Ebro, did more to push poison on the community and then complain about the quality of hip hop or rap, but would never give that slot, that position to an artist or MC who deserved it. So you mean to tell me that Ebro or Rosenberg never heard Cam Bottom?
You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, like I said, you know, I'm calling foul on the fact that he's so opinionated. Like Lord Jamal said, in the culture, he's a guest in his house. Right?
He called Chuck D one time a troll, remember? And him and the Electronica got into a spat.
Out on Chuck. He wilded that because he wilded out on Chuck D, and then he didn't back down. He doubled down and got wild disrespectful. I'm talking about wild disrespectful to Chuck D. And he was talking very, you know, he was talking very negative about the energy of the quote unquote movement. So the thing with Chuck is that he was waiting for the opportunity to take the pain and the anger that he had for Griff and what he felt Black consciousness represented in music, right? Because that represented the threat to what he considered to be, oh, we in the building just don't point out the fact that we have this historical secret relationship with melanated people, and there's a continuum of it going on through hip hop. So he might not be mindful of all of the predecessors of his particular ethnic group who owned these record labels and who jerked Black musicians and who made it, you know, the situation today where we have all of these weird contracts, right? Because if you think what you see with Megan Thee Stallion is raping you records, you have no idea what they was doing to Etta James and the rest of them, right? All the way up until now, because none of them brothers learned that game. They, like vampires get bit, like vampires bite people and they bite people, or like child abuse people get abused and then they start abusing people and start telling you I was born that way, right? It's the same way that these artists get jerked by record labels and then they do the jerking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you call it? Puff Daddy got bent over by Andre. We're just talking metaphorically, y'all, about raping you records, right? By Andre Harrell, and Andre Harrell got it from Clive Davis.
Facts. And he just passed it on.
He just passed it on. You know, it's just a change. You know what I mean? So Rosenberg needs to take a seat and do some history about what hip hop initially represented in terms of a voice for oppressed, melanated, and Latino youth.
Look,
you dig what I'm saying? And hold on, and it was information based because there was a fifth pillar to it that was the most important, called knowledge. And that knowledge came under that 5-pointed star, right? Of the sun, moon, and the stars. And when that particular star got replaced with that 6-pointed star of Christianity, then they started moving around this industry like nobody remembered who they are.
You got to remember, keep in mind, there's a threat, right? There's a perceived threat in the industry, and the perceived threat in the industry post Lior. I don't want to say his whole name because they be less than him, but he's tall and he's from Israel. And after he took over, the threat was people who were God bodies and these Black Israelites, because you got to remember, it's a conflict of interest going on. So people like Rosenberg are the gatekeepers of she's the child of that guy and all of his people that he brought in, the like Blue Pill said, the key makers, the people who are at the doors.
Right.
So he's one of them. He would be the culture vulture that the brother always tries to articulate exists inside of the industry. And the way that they work is by being these quote unquote gatekeepers. And he is acting fake, he's coming with this white fragility because of the fact that the brother is on a mainstream album with somebody who he's used to hearing talk about selling cocaine to his own people, because I promise you, it's people like Rosenberg that'll be like, I like drug dealing Hove, or I like drug dealing Jay-Z, or I like Big Pimpin'. Yeah, I like him better than this Hotep Hove. They'll ridicule the change in the growth, because the change in the growth is something that people in that industry are not comfortable with, because they get exposed.
Let's because like I said, the thing about hip hop and the thing about our community, right, is that we don't have a continuum of memory. We don't keep notes. Everything is separated. We don't put nothing to weave nothing together. So March 22nd, right, 3/22, 2014, Jay-Z appears on a remix for Mama We Made It, right? We Made It, J Electronica remix, right? This was right after got the when Lupita won, because they put her picture on the album. It was an all black cover. Remember that? And then on April 6th of 2014, the New York Post on the front cover had a picture of Jay-Z courtside at the Nets basketball game with the universal flag of the 5% Nation on. Right? And that created the frenzy. That created the frenzy, which ultimately led to all of them blood moon rituals where they was killing all of them children in the street and the police was clapping them down under the blood moons. And now here we are today. The vindication of it in full circle. But they have been terrified that the person who personifies capitalism in this society, right? The person who personified, who occupied the throne vacated by the sixth guard, because the first sixth guard was Biggie Smalls. He represented that 6-pointer energy. He was the one who was responsible for initiating the Jesus symbolism in hip hop by the Jesus piece. A student of a Roman Catholic school, him and Puff Daddy. His name was Christopher, and he was born on a Sunday, right? His brother had strong messianic energy, but he, at a time when we live in a very demiurgic time. So the messiahs are going to be anti-messiahs. The crises are going to be anti-crisis. You know what I'm saying? So he represented an energy, and we still live within that dream. We live within the dream that Biggie Smalls created, because it was, marathon by Jay-Z, who crossed the finish line when he made that billion, right? And Puff Daddy is still moving, and he's still strong, and these brothers represent crass materialism and consumerism, hyper-consumerism. You dig what I'm saying? All of that represents what those particular people applaud, because that's how they make their money. You know what I'm saying? So they were terrified. Yes, they were terrified. You have to read the narrative. Go back and read those articles. I have all of them. They was terrified at the thought that Jay-Z might be going conscious, but not only conscious, but going in the way of the 5%ers, because they know what comes after that. You understand? And then in June, I believe, that's when J Electronica came out to the Hip Hop Fest. Red, you was there, right? And he gave him the chain on the stage, transferred You feel me?
Look,
To take
that was the interesting thing.
And the Heat was, because the minute he gave him the chain, they took the heat off of him. It was all about that chain and what that chain represents. You understand?
That's facts. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? That very same performance, this was at the Brooklyn Hip Hop Picnic. It was Jay Electronica and Jay-Z. They was doing Nigga We Made It on the stage together. And they brought out a young upstart whose song was beginning to make noise in New York. And his name was Bobby Shmurda, right? And I believe Raekwon brought him out. Raekwon brought him out on his set. Bobby Shmurda and Rowdy Rebel, right? And Troy Ave was brought out as well at the Brooklyn Fest. And that was the beginning of the Brooklyn Drill by way of Bobby Shmurda, who's the father of that whole movement, the top movement, not in Brooklyn right now, in the whole of New York after Pop Smoke got killed. That whole sound has taken over. Anywhere that you go and you hear the sound, everybody's drilling. And one of the things about the drill, like I said before, is that you need an enemy in order to drill, right? So the big homie of the city, the one who calls all of the shots by way of his lyrics and by way of his moves is Jay-Z, right? So now with the young brothers that are out here, you know, kind of like in limbo, trying to figure shit out, but they're going through some shit. They're going through a time now where they're about to be in a city that's going to be on martial law. The big homie is coming with big homie rules. He's coming with big homie game. You know what I mean? And other people like Meek Mill and other people that the streets look up to, they're beginning to exhibit street consciousness. Now, one of the reasons why a project like this works and is right on time, and like I said, Allah is the best of planners, is because we're coming out of an introduction of a concept that was given to us earlier this year through the Godfather of Harlem, okay? And the Godfather of Harlem introduced you to the concept of the streets and consciousness coming together and the possibilities, the probability that existed within it. Bumpy and Malcolm, right? Bumpy and Malcolm, right? So
to the name,
excuse me?
To the name of the album Bumpy and Malcolm.
They should have just named it Bumpy and Malcolm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And shot some black and white shit by the Apollo. I would have, would have made a cameo. But that's what you got right there. You got Bumpy and Malcolm because Jay-Z is, remember, he's that American gangster. He's the American gangster. He represents the streets. But the streets are, you can't separate the streets from the people, because like he said, I had this in the 80s. Fuck is you talking about? Nigga, we been had this information. We were talking about this, like I've said before. When you go back in the history of the streets, the real deal streets in New York City and the industry by way of the streets from the 90s is all God body. When you deal with the niggas who went on the road and started spreading the crack on on quiet towns and tying them down and took New York and took Brooklyn on the road, you got God bodies. When you look at the beginning of the gangs like the Bloods, God bodies. When you look at the Decepticons, the beginning of the posses and the gangs, God bodies. They've always been there. These are street people with knowledge, and the followers of Malachi Z. York, the Ansar Allah, Nuwabians. You know there's a Nuwabian at every crime scene, right? There's a Nuwabian at every album release party. Every crime scene, there's a Nuwabian. In the crowd, it's a Nuwabian. Facts. They're everywhere. So, we always have to put into concept the fingerprints that these organizations, these street organizations, that are still relevant to this day, the fingerprints that they have in the quote unquote culture. The only thing that's going to save the babies, the only thing that's going to save the streets, the only thing that's going to save the minds of a people who've been completely submerged in coronaviruses is the teachings of the honorable.
I said submerging toxicity, yeah.
Yeah, and some bat soup. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? Niggas is submerging bat soup, you know. So it's gonna take some high levels, high frequency music. Is this album the Magnus Opus? No, it's a good plate, my niggas. We can't be that greedy. Just eat your food. You know what I mean? I went to sleep listening to that.
I say eat your food, and the excrement of what you release from it should be your rendition, right? Because, you know, as artists, and that's just not people who go into the booth and make art, artists, period, creatives, it should inspire you to express yourself, you know what I'm saying, in a manner in which is, you know, just a little bit more indicative in what you adhere to. Like, yeah, what do you believe in, nigga? You know what I'm saying?
You feel me? And not only that, Blue, like, think about it. We be watching like the Netflix document series of Nina Simone. You know, I just saw one on Miles Davis. Fire, ooh, right? Miles is you have to see. That's must watch streaming TV on Netflix. Miles Davis. Look, they took advantage of the times that they were in, and they became immortal because of the decisions that they made and the shit that they created because of the times they reflected the times that they were in. So for all of the artists that are listening to this, that are hearing, that are critiquing other people's expressions, you need to be taking full advantage of the times that they're supposed to be masterpieces being turned out by artists. You niggas have permission now to be great again. You dig what I'm saying? Because we're not gonna we can't cherry pick with this. I know how the game goes. You got permission now to talk your shit. The big homie is giving you permission. He said that's the style that I'm on. And I know how our people follow the lead. So go ahead and follow the lead, plug in the booth. Jada Kiss was at the party. You know, his album is fire. Shout out to Jada. You know what I mean? But grown men need to be talking about some grown men teens. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm excited. Huh?
I said, if any time it's grown man teen time right about now.
That's right.
That's facts, yeah.
That's right. So I'm excited.
Let's get to the this whole situation with the coronavirus, and obviously it's something everybody's talking about. The announcement was just made that you can't gather with 50 or more people for the next, I think, 8 weeks. Schools is shut down, so a lot of parents don't know what they're going to do with their children because they don't have babysitters to watch their children. Restaurants shut down. They're only doing takeout in New York City. So, wow, the next 2 months, things are going to be real different in this country. What's your take on what's going on right now? Some people are very worried, fearful. Some people look at this as a glass half full perspective. Blue Pill was just mentioning how there's 3 different types of coronas. Maybe he could elaborate. Blue, you able to hear me?
Yes, I said that.
Are you elaborating on that, Blue? Tell me what you was telling me before we got on camera.
I said that we are dealing with 3 different circumstances simultaneously. The coronavirus, you know, of which, shout out to KT and all of the dynamic scientific minds on the planet that are attempting to explain, you know, what exactly that entails, right? So you got the coronavirus, okay? Then you have coronanoma. Coronanoma is what's going to set in when the vaccines come, right? And the carcinogens that people put in their bodies, because I'm hearing that they have a 3-strand DNA vaccine that is silicone-based and coated in gold. They took in the science, they cooking niggas with this one. Because all of the ramifications of what I'm reading about that particular DNA strand and why they coated it with gold, you know, they jacking the swag. They They reverse engineering everything that we throwing at the world, yo. I'm telling you, right? Even to the point, in fact, that they named it COVID-19, and I've demonstrated on every occasion possible how this is a 44 disease. But anyway, coronanoma is the situation that comes with the spraying as well as with the vaccines, because they're going to start spraying in the streets. They're going to start sterilizing. They're going to use high-grade chemicals in order to do that. They are chemtrailing like the sky is falling right now. You know what I'm saying? Because more aluminum that your body has, the more susceptible that you're going to be when they turn on 5G. You know what I'm saying? And start directing you, because the 3-strand DNA is going to shut down your ability to be rebellious, make your own decisions, any of that stuff. And then you have coronanomia. Coronaphobia is the fear that has been injected into the financial market, and the fear that has been injected into the hearts and the minds of the people. The coronaphobia is the xenophobia that's going to come, where people are beating up Asians already, and whatever ethnic or racial group that's identified. They ain't beating up the Romans though, right? Ain't nobody running down on no Italians. But anyway, any ethnic group that's identified, with this particular quote unquote disease, they're going to feel the full brunt of people pushing back on their fears. So the fear-based program is something that is going to metamorphosize itself in many different ways, because there's going to be a lot of different fissures and breakages of the system based on corona, and people are always going to be looking to blame somebody, right? Damn, son, they cut my EBT off. Somebody's gonna have to feel that pain. So those are the 3 different extremes and dynamics that we're looking at, you know what I'm saying, with this one situation.
Red, you want to comment on everything that's going on right now?
Yeah. We did a series, started it in January and entitled it 2020, the Year of Fear. It was in a Fear of a Black and More Messiah installments. And in the first series, the first part, we dealt with the coronavirus, and we dealt with Event 201, the Bill Gates event that took place in October of 2019, where not only was there a simulation of a pandemic, keyword pandemic, there was also, it was also during the drill, they carried it out all the way into the FEMA camps and the confinement and things of that nature. So what I'm witnessing and what I'm seeing unfold on a daily basis and on a global scale, not just in New York, but in other places around the world, is the the rollout of what we could be seeing is the like Blue said, a new system, a whole new system. Look how fast the quote unquote coronaphobia was able to set in America, because keep in mind, we've been talking about this for about a month already, right? There were times when I was in the city and I was talking to some of my suppliers, and they were like, yo, all of the warehouses are stocking up for 6 months at least, because they were like, everything is shutting down. This was like a month ago. And I got right online and started telling people, yo, buy in bulk. Whatever you do, buy in bulk. Get it now. The shit is about to shut down. Start stacking. And even on my lives, I was telling people, go to the store every day and just drop $20 and just start picking up them canned goods, the perishable stuff. And I know people are like, the canned goods ain't healthy. The canned goods is emergency foods, fam. Start cracking them cans open when shit get really real, then the beans is coming out, but at least have them as something that you could fall back on. now there's panic buying taking place. So even if you just went to the store to get some water, you walking out of there with the jitters. Because I walked in Whole Foods in Harlem today, and the aisle, I'm talking about the aisles they were empty. They emptied out Whole Foods. Whole Foods is expensive.
Yes. Bucket naked.
Butt naked, right on 2/5. You know, not to say that everything was gone, but people are taking a choice. They picking and choosing about what they want to buy out, and they leaving shit. I guess this is a good time to, you know, take a toll as to what's not selling. But they buying out things are selling out now. One of the things that I could wish was activated was some of our thought leaders in the community who could show a more cohesive and collaborative effort to begin to use platforms like the live streams and the platforms such as yours that are, you know, that speak to hundreds of thousands of people, and began to say, you know what, for all of the children that have to, because my son, I was with him today, and they say he has a month off. I'm like, whoa. De Blasio was like, yo, we're giving them until April 20th. And then they might, the whole school year might be out, right? My son had a championship game coming up next week. So now that's everything postponed. So I'm like, this is the time to begin a mass online homeschooling initiative where these young children can begin to get the right training and the correct information to really put them in a position that they need to be in right now. You feel me? Because this is not time to be playing video games. You know, this is not that time. The reason why they canceled the NBA, the NFL, hockey, baseball is because it's time for the people to cut all of that shit off. And we need to start thinking about what is it that we can do to prepare ourselves for, you know, change, simply change. Don't, you know, nothing to be scared of. It's just change. 2020 is here. They told you that it's going to change. And if this whole year hasn't shown you that it's about change and moving things forward, I don't know what to tell you. But your vision by next week is going to be more clearer than it was this week, because you're about to start to see some things that we've been on YouTube listening to and falling asleep listening to for the past decade about.
Yo, you know what's beautiful, y'all?
Yes.
This is real beautiful to me. First of all, I think that I was telling Blue, like, you know, we've been preparing for this our whole life. So it's like, you know, it's bound to go down good for us, I think, brothers and sisters. I think that, especially if you've been on that right frequency, I just think that this is our time to shine right now. And I think what's beautiful is that when you study metaphysics and quantum physics, and you understand that each part of the hologram contains the whole of the hologram, and you understand that we fractals, bro, we got all the answers inside of us, bro, like literally encoded in our DNA, bro. So, yo, this is what I'm saying. The only way out is in. Like, nigga, if our ancestors figured out everything, I asked Blue and you this mad times, yo, how did they come up with all these inventions? I remember one time Red said, yo, they didn't have the media. They didn't have the media to distract them. So now that shit is out the way, and we got all of this encoded in us, and all we are fractal of what we call God in the universe to begin with, there's no way we could fail, family. We got brothers like KT, Blue Pill, Dr. Phil Valentine. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. That's been in this conscious movement, guiding us, teaching us to build our immune system. We got Billy Carson with the, you know, the information on quantum physics. I mean, bro, we good, man. We just gotta, we gotta have faith in that unseen realm. We gotta have more faith in that unseen realm than we have in that television, man. But I want to bring up, with that being said, I want to bring up a weird, they call it a coincidence, but some people may say it's synchronicity. I was looking at something Black Dot posted. He said that COVID translates to Kobe in Hebrew, and Kobe was buried in Corona, California.
Yeah.
Now that's like, you know, there's just so many synchronicities going on these days. It's like at an all-time high right now, bro. It's like like you would swear everything is a damn conspiracy with all the synchronicities that's going on right now.
But because people don't listen, we 10 years in, bro. Everything is connected, right? And there's an invisible thread that connects all things. It's not a conspiracy. Once again, because nobody interjects creator in none of their conversations, right? That the first thing that they do is run and call it a conspiracy and give it to a whole nother energy. I'm just saying that everything connects like a Rubik's Cube. If you strip down the physicality of it and you go into the coding, the gematria, the mathematics, the names, you know, this is what we was prepared for by our master teachers. They taught us how to decode, how to lift the roof up and look underneath it. And we not doing that no more. We sitting here like we amazed by stuff that we have always been prepared for. So yes, it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? But does that mean that, oh, China created coronavirus and Kobe was in on it? Like, I don't understand where it's,
you know, somebody said that. Don't tell me, Don. Don't tell me somebody said that shit.
What you think? They was just positing that information on the internet and they didn't match it with a narrative? Of course they were saying that.
Oh man.
What other way do they have to go? They don't have the eyes to see, right? So they're looking in the dark, and the only thing that they see in the dark is boogeymen. So everything is conspiracy. These people in the days did it. What happens to the divine hand of the creator that plans best in all things, and his fingerprints cannot be identified if you know what you're looking at? I don't hear nobody talking like that. You feel me? And that's why I'm sitting back and I'm like, turn it up, turn the heat up. You know what I'm saying? It ain't hot enough. Turn the temperature up. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how these people get close to God, because they're very far away. They're very lost. And that's why you see people running in these stores on the sheeple program, leaving behind everything that builds up the immunity and taking everything that causes inflammation. Right? Man. We are dealing with a serious collapse of society, right? I mean, the people is dumb deliro. What's gonna save these people from themselves, right? Because Jesus ain't coming, they got corona in the air. So what else is gonna do it? What is it gonna take? Because these are the people we've been tasked with holding this thing up. Right? So we gotta ask these questions. Like at some point, you gotta know what the break point is where you be like, yo, I'm good. I'm gonna take the people that get it and I'm gonna go over here and build this whole new world. Because these are the same people that are attempting to hold up this house of cards that's collapsing. It's the same people.
Yo, brother in the chat room said all the vegetable oil was gone where he was. Niggas gonna be frying some chicken, huh? They gonna be frying some chicken.
It's right.
Like, was you around when they had the blackout in New York?
Yeah, I remember.
Barbecuing, bro. Right? They about to have quarantine barbecues, B.
Quarantine barbecuing.
Yeah, fish fries and quarantine barbecues. And they're gonna be using the you know, like when you was locked up and they do the fishing, they put everything on the string.
Right.
Yo, what about quarantine only fan pages?
Yo, you're gonna see that popping from the conscious human in this community. That's another. You're gonna see a lot of things happen. And like I said, Vice is at an all-time high, but you're gonna see the conscious woman popping up with the only fan pages too.
Oh, the conscious stripper back, huh?
Yeah, you're gonna see all that
activity.
Man. Right. So what do y'all think about this concept of social distancing? Do you think I know you got the revolution will be digitized, Red Pill, but as far as social distancing and not, you know, having interaction with each other and being away from people at an all-time high, how do you think that's going to affect our psyche, bro? Like you talked about the online schooling and everything. Do you think that's going to have a negative effect on our psyche?
I feel that it's basically, you know, it's the manifestation of what, you know, society has been manifesting, you know, by having their nose in the phone. With social distancing, you know, AKA nigga get away from me. You know what I mean? See me on my live, you know what I'm talking about? You know, it's going to be encouraged, it's going to be enforced by technology that already exists. The launch of the Oculus Rift by way of Facebook through WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook through Zuckerberg. That's going to be groundbreaking, you know, virtual reality by way of the Oculus Rift headset, where we could be having this conversation. How many people in the chat right now? I'm not looking at it.
About 1,400.
All right. So imagine if I could see all 1,400 of you. Not only can I see you, I could walk up to you and dap you. I could dap you and not worry about getting the coronavirus because we're in virtual. If there's a conscious stripper or a baddie right there, we could get a twerk session going on right there. Cash App. Slap. You know what I mean? If I want to wipe my nose, if I want to go slat, you know what I mean? If I got shooters with me and we see one of the slimes and we want to if we want to slither, we could do that all in virtual. No, I'm telling you, what was that movie? Real Player One?
Yeah.
Don't take my word for it. Go and look up Facebook Portal and go and look up Oculus Rift and then go and buy the stocks and then go buy stocks in Zoom. And then don't just thank me later. You know, send me some dividends, you know what I mean, off of them stocks. You know, I can't do free game right now during the coronavirus. You feel me? But yeah, we're going into a stage and we're going to enter into a place. That's what I'll be talking about this upcoming Thursday. Thank you for reminding me, Brother Rich. I have to show the people the flyer as well. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. But I have upcoming class. Remember, family, thank you everybody from Black Magic 363 who joined me for my online class last, I believe it was last Thursday when I did part 2 of 2020, the year of fear. I love and appreciate all of the students. Y'all did a wonderful job. We had a wonderful time. It was about 5 hours. And yes, we do have the video for video on demand for anybody out there that wants to see either part 1 or 2. We have a deal on part 1 and 2 in a bundle. Holla at your peoples, all right? Let's work this out. But coming up this Thursday at 8 p.m. on Zoom, we're going to be doing class, and the class is entitled The Evolution Will Be Digitized 2020. And it's a continuum of a lecture that I did in 2014 at Brother Sanetta's house called The Evolution Will Be Digitized. And that was a monumental presentation. So I'm going to be doing an updated version 2020 to work with people and to give people the solutions on how you could use this new economy. There's a new economy that emerged out of this because they just pumped. What did they do today? The Fed put the interest rate to 0%, and they pumped 15 trillion into the economy. The old economy, that old run that they had for 11 years, that's an old economy now. That economy is dead.
Right.
Dead. There's something new on the horizon. So there's a new economy now because of social distancing. Brother Rich, I suspect that not only are we going to witness social distancing, but we're in the throes of what may be the social credit system. You know, the social credit system will be implemented because people will be restricted now from movement and travel and all kind of other things under the guise of this quote unquote virus. If you're not vaccinated, if you don't have the, you know, all of this stuff. So the social credit system being rolled out in America through 5G is something that I could foresee happening like very fast.
Yeah, let's preference it. Just on Saturday, Well, I think the article came out on the 13th. So on Friday the 13th, they said that let me read it verbatim so I don't be freestyling. Right. This is the scenario because we have to entertain all scenarios to be prepared. People is like, they want us to ignore what we see. Right. 2020 is supposed to be about vision. Net shut down, rebooting a million servers and waiting for old systems to hop onto the quantum internet. It's been 30 years since the internet was rebooted. Think of the activities without the net for 10 days, right? This came out on March 13th and it came from, I guess people affiliated with the FCC, So the scenario that we're looking at here is that what if you are in the house with no internet? You know what I'm saying? So social distancing is one thing, but can you live with yourself? That's the question. Can you live around your loved ones? Can you live with your family? And then if the water goes out, can you live with your inner self, meaning the stuff that comes out of your body? How long can you live around that? Because you expect everybody else to live with your shit. Can you live with your shit? So this is now you're gonna be forced to know yourself in ways in which you have never gotten to know yourself. You're gonna be forced to know your children in ways in which you're gonna be forced to know your mate in a way in which you have never gotten to know your mate. So people are gonna come out from this different. This is a forced metamorphosis. You couldn't bring yourself to turn off the NBA or the NFL. You couldn't do it on your own. Right? Now I got Thanos snap, right? Now you've been forced to do it. Now the games is over. People don't know what to do with themselves. You understand?
You just knew you was going to Coachella and the K-pop concert, didn't you? The Ariana Grande. But my dude, you 55 with a black power tattoo on your neck. What are you doing? So you got repurposed. We really got to ask ourselves, what is the purpose? What is the universe showing us? What is everybody's talking about the global reset? Well, we all gonna, if we're all gonna reset, then my question is, what are we resetting to? And I know what I'm gonna reset to. I know what my global reset is, and I welcome it.
Right. No, definitely. What do you think about this whole martial law? Do you think this is, some people say you don't want to buy into the fear, but do you think sometimes saying I don't want to buy into the fear is a form of escapism and a form of trying to avoid what's destined to happen to Babylon falling in the first place?
Look, these people got a full scale, 148-page magazine out already on stands, right? Everything in color. You dig what I'm saying? And they're breaking down everything that's going on globally. So why do we feel, right? Here comes the sense of entitlement as Americans. You ain't even on full lockdown, but you gonna feel some way if you see troops in the street, whether this is a real situation or it's concocted. The need and the necessity for separation has taken place. Now, again, let me go back to the message of the messenger, because like I said, we just saw the edification of the messenger by way of a new messenger that came out right after Mercury retrograde, because Mercury deals with the messenger, right? Gemini energy, Mercury deals with the messenger, deals with the angel Gabriel, deals with the message. So J Electronica bringing this particular message, the message of the messenger is separation. And it was forced separation, it was forced quarantine. So now this has been thrust upon us by the very auspices, you know what I'm saying? That you very
He's a Virgo, right?
Yes, he's a Virgo. He was born on the 19th. Either the 19th or on your birth. Was it the 19th or on his birthday? Yeah, he's either on the 17th or the 19th. Okay. Right? So, and you might want to look that up because he might be on your born date, right? So yeah, the message is separation. So now you have this forced separation, and you get to test it out. You get to see what it's about. You get to see if you cut out for it, if you made for it. How does it settle with you? Niggas been bumping their guns for how many years in this community about the need and necessity for homeschooling when nobody ready for it. When nobody ready for it. Everybody's in the matrix. Shit, even Soldier, Nature Boy and them niggas is back from the wild. Like, everybody's in the matrix. Everybody's here. You feel me? And nobody got no answers. And this is what they were supposed to be prepping and preparing for. Nobody was getting ready for the ending. Nobody was getting ready for the reset. Nobody was getting ready to give back Caesar what is his. And Caesar got killed today in BC 44. This is the Ides of March. Today is the Ides of March.
Yes.
Right? The day Caesar got killed by the Senators. This is a Roman holiday for Romans. Right? In Rome. Wow. These niggas is Romans, man. And quarantine itself is a Roman term dealing with 40 days of isolation. Dealing with 40 days of isolation, right? So we're in them times, yo.
Like this, look.
Pick up all them books. Hold on. The niggas love talking about reading, look, read all them books right now. Get into all of them. The Quran, read the Bible, read the Bhagavad Gita, read it all, right? As a researcher, as a scientist, as a social scientist, see what jumps out and resonates with you at this particular point in time. We're going through the process of Lent. We're under Lent, which is a 40-day process to Easter. This is all about these 40s in this 4 year. This is all Law 44, my dude.
Yo, the Pope went to the Church of the Plague today, right? He left the Vatican.
Yeah. What is pestilence? What is locust? What is all of these things?
That's
right?
What I'm saying.
Nobody wants to recognize nothing. Everybody want to be blind in the year of vision. I just don't get it, man.
So the Pope becomes sick in Italy, right? Remember, the Vatican is in Italy.
In Rome.
The people see the Pope, the people see their Pope bedridden damn near. Right?
The vicegerent of Christ himself. Because these niggas run around talking about they covered in the blood of Christ or the blood of Jesus, right? But so, okay, what happened to the Pope then? Because that's his right-hand man.
Yeah, how that happened?
Yeah.
How the Pope got the flu. And the shit was like the coronavirus. Yeah. So then imagine how the people in Italy began to become
faith.
Huh?
Lost their faith.
Facts.
Because they caught on like this.
And the loss of faith. Yeah. Go ahead, Blue.
No, I'm just saying how quick it caught on in Italy. It spread quicker than it looked like it spread in China. And that was all fear-based.
That was all fear-based. That's because their Pope was sick. Their Pope was feared to have the coronavirus. That was the word, but they were covering it up. They didn't want to, they didn't want to let that out. But guess what suffered as a result of the Pope being sick? The stock market. That's when the faith in the market crashed. When the Pope started really, like in his 4th day or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they turned that week, on that Monday, he was still sick.
So then, right, Italy starts to fall. This is Rome that we're talking about. Let's speak about from a Christian Zionist standpoint, right? Because we're still talking about this energy with Peter and but we're speaking about it on a larger scale with the Zionists, the Christian Zionists, and the quote unquote
The evangelicals and the Zionists.
Evangelicals, right?
The union that they represent in this administration. Yes.
Right. And like the fellowship, right? The documentary on the Netflix about the people, that powerful group, they go around the world pushing Jesus, right? But they dictate global affairs. And they also, not only do they dictate global affairs, they dictate biblical affairs, right? They deal with biblical, they deal with the biblical narratives. So think about the places that are being affected right now and look at it through a biblical lens. You have Turkey, right? They're in the quote unquote ire of this is being called a plague. This is not being called a quote unquote virus per se, based off of the literature that you read. They're calling it a plague in some places. It's affecting Rome. It's affecting China, the dragon, right? Great China. It's affecting Korea.
South Korea, yes.
South Korea, right? And it's affecting, what's the other place?
Germany.
Oh, Iran. No, Persia. I'm sorry, Persia. Right? Persia, Iran. And then it comes to America. And it's moving like a plague.
Germany, yeah.
Huh?
Germany, don't leave
Germany.
Germany.
The UK now, the British Empire, and then Germany, the Germanic people, the Germans. Think about how this thing is moving, huh?
I said of which Trump is a descendant of the German.
Yes, in which Trump is a descendant of the German. Mm-hmm. And it was a Brazilian official that had it, that shook his hand, I believe, Brazil.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So this coronavirus it managed to hop over Africa, the dark continent where all kind of, plagues, originate from and seem to ravage before it leaks out and begins to threaten the rest of the world.
Right, but simultaneously they are experiencing the locust plague.
That's right. So their version, yeah. So remember, we're speaking of what we're seeing through a biblical narrative. The people who are the Christian Zionists and the people like Pence and Trump and them who are the quote unquote
evangelicals, right?
The evangelicals who have an extremely powerful grip on.
Right, and Kushner is representing the Lubavitch section of Zionism by way of what he represents, and those are the Crown Heights friend. What do we call them? Jewish brethren.
Yeah, who Rosenberg is probably tied into as well, right? So those people. And we also have to factor in China's role in American affairs, because people want to dismiss China as if they're not in the room when all the decisions are being made because of the interest that they have in America. Like there's a possibility for them to be in bed with America because they're in bed with America with damn near everything.
Keep going.
Yeah, my fault. Red.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to step away for a second.
That's all
yeah, definitely. I was just getting updated on everything that's going on right now. Yeah, basically, man, it's like, we talk about the Bible, and we, obviously we're talking about Islam, we're talking about Christianity. Mm-hmm. I remember Blue did a video on what, remember that video, Blue?
What?
The miners that was trapped.
Oh yes, the miners, when we was talking about do you
think it's time to revisit the Bible? Should we revisit the Bible, not to be religious, but to interpret it from, I guess, a perspective like a cultic perspective or a conscious perspective, Blue?
the way I said, it's a necessity at this particular time. Dust off your Bibles, crack it open, read it. Read the Quran, read the Bhagavad Gita, read all of these particular religious texts that spoke. Because I've always gone on record. Shout out to Billy Carson, you know, and I brought this up when I was at his workshop, and I said, "Do you think that a lot of these narratives were posited from the future into the past to speak about the future?" He was like, "That's an interesting concept." And that's what I've always kind of somewhat resonated with. You know, shout out to Horace Butler too, who totally obliterates that entire narrative of those incidents taking place and you know, in the East. You know, that's a whole nother story. But yes.
What do you okay. Greg, you want to comment on that? Or so how do you feel about, and I want to get a few questions from the people before we get out of here, but I got one more question, then we're gonna get to the people. What's your thoughts on any type of extraterrestrial influence on what's taking place right now? You know, it may be our relatives in other planets. It may be entities from other places that have an influence on what's going on right now. Ezekiel's will, or you know, I was just listening to that song. But go ahead.
Again, the edification of the message of the messenger speaks to otherworldly events. You know, it speaks about the wheel. It speaks about a lot of these particular things. And the wheel edifies the conversation that was brought forth by Enoch. So read the book of Enoch in particular, because the book of Enoch talks about quote unquote New Jerusalem. And before people get spooky, right? There is an unprecedented number of sightings right now. Google it. Go into your YouTube and type UFO 2020. I mean, they are popping out everywhere. And in particular, the diamond-shaped one, the pyramid-shaped one, right? The one that's diamond is full of light. It, you know, that's the one that I have resonated with and seen continuously. And it's pure light. It's not like metallic ones and all of that. So I do believe that yes, we are currently being observed by the what they call the Watchers, who, for a lack of a better term, they're not quote unquote intervening at this particular time. They're making observations and observing. You know what I'm saying? This is for the Son of Man. You know, we have to pull this one off. And if there's a level of intervention that comes at some point because it gets so crazy, you know, people is going to dismiss it and say, oh, that's Project Blue Beam and this, that, and the other. But man has to take into affairs the affairs of men. You know what I'm saying? And although we're being observed and it might be manipulated from other planes and things of that particular nature, this is still something that, you know, we're going to have to dig deep and pull some solutions out for ourselves, especially for the fact that there are other entities and beings from other places that are watching to see, are you qualified? You know what I'm saying? Because according to those biblical narratives, if we want to say that those entities was the angels are jealous of you because you got the mandate. You have the power and you're not using it. You have squandered it. You have relinquished it. You have put it in the hands of people who have, you know, diabolical plans for you. And they're doing what men do, power grabs. I ain't giving this up. I ain't telling them that they the people, that they the ones, that they the chosen. And that's the whole narrative that got us in this conversation to begin with, right? Jay Electronica saying, yo, that's us. That ain't you. Take a back seat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Farrakhan, the intro with Farrakhan, yeah.
That's our mark. Yeah, we the children of Israel, if you will, right? So it's interesting to see, you know, what the writing on the wall is and where these conversations are and where they're taking place and how they're taking place. And once again, the people's unwillingness to see the writing on the wall at this particular time when they said, those with eyes shall see and those with ears shall hear. You could tear the book up and throw all the other stuff out the window if you don't, if it don't rock with it and don't resonate with you. but there are some sayings and some information in there that's very relative at this particular time.
Yeah, I was talking to KT, before we did our last video with the fast. We was talking about what to name our fast, and he mentioned the corona, and I was like, nah, that might scare some people away. KT was like, yo, Rich, man, they take all our shit. He was like, that's the sun right there, corona.
So let me explain this all, because this is my continuous narrative as well. I'll reiterate it. There's a corona rising at the same time that we have the coronavirus. So I was curating this narrative that popped off last year with the loss of Nipsey, right? When people got into their feelings, when I was like, yo, that's a heralding, right? It is a sign of things to come. You know what I'm saying? It's not the actual event, but it's a sign of things to come. Him being 33, him being a Leo, him dying on the last day of the last year, going into the new year, April 1st. You know what I'm saying? Him, what you call it? His number in gematria equals 48. That means the great, that means jubilee, that means star. You know what I'm saying? All of these particular things that point to the fact that we have lost people continuously, even going up all the way into Kobe, which you're identifying with people being able to decode and break things down and see the writing on the wall, right, underneath it all, but they can't put 1 and 2 together because they don't have no sense of this being a continuum or a narrative where one part is connected to the other and it's just telling one big story.
Right. Nah, that's real.
So corona is the sun. Corona is the sun. It's synonymous with gold, right? And the sun is synonymous with Christ by way of the tree of life, right? And his 6 Sephiroth with his Tipperoth, which represents the cross. So we're seeing these figures that represent that, and they're checking up out of here, and they're making way for the coming of the quote unquote Christ. But when I speak on that, I'm speaking about the body of Christ. And when I speak on that, I'm talking about the children of Israel. And when I speak on that, I'm speaking about melanated people who are willing to step into that space, right? And become the people who they were destined to be. And that comes by way of you taking responsibility for your own life at this particular point, manning up, right? So you can occupy the throne, which has been vacated, in which other people have adopted your identity, kicked you off the throne, and now they telling you, how dare you make claims to that throne.
Facts. Facts.
Indeed. And another thing, we talk about synchronicity. It's just funny how, you know, we got the whole ADOS thing that popped off last year and the 400-year Jubilee.
Jubilee, yes.
Then this year we got Jay, Electronica, and then we got Farrakhan saying, Elijah told me the black man and woman in America is the children of Israel. So it's just, like you said, it's just, everything's just coming together and everything just met. It's like the greatest movie you ever seen, this thing called Earth. This shit is like a magnificently crafted movie, bro.
Farrakhan did an address 2 weeks ago, right? Right after Savior's Day, he followed up with another address, Who is Jesus? I recommend that people go and listen to that because that was his swan song. That was his outro. He did that address like that was his last address that he was going to do to the people and to the nation. And he had a lot of gems in that lecture that he did. Okay, he answered a lot of questions, qualified a lot of things, and he made a lot of claims. You dig what I'm saying? And it's for the, if you can't wrap your mind around it, cool. I'm just saying, at least go and check out what's being said and how it aligns with this particular time that we're in, the signs and the symbols and everything popping off.
Indeed, let's get a couple of questions from the family before we get out of here. I'm mad tired, y'all. I'm about to go straight to sleep after this show. I want to thank everybody. We got about 1,500 people in the chat. Shout out to all y'all for being with us this Sunday. It's midnight right now on the East Coast. Let me put that link, that Cash App. Make sure you support the channel, Independent Media. Donate to that Cash App. There's still time to join the fast as well. You can send a donation that way if you want to get down with that fast. But it's gonna be off the hook. So family, give me some questions from my brother Red and Blue. Give me some questions. I think he already answered that. Do y'all remember how do you say this word? Cicadas?
Cicadas, right.
Cicadas from 2003. They were supposed to come back in 17 years. That is 2020, same time as the crown virus plague.
About that. Yeah, the cicadas, they are designated to come back this particular year as well. But we got the locusts already. So what the cicadas gonna do?
Facts.
We got the locusts, right? We have all evidence and signs, right? It's the people. The people got the motherfucking virus. It's the people who don't want to recognize what they're looking at. But the scripture said, all knees shall bow and all tongues shall confess, right? And bear witness. Okay? So you're going to see some things. You're going to see some things this year. And I'm here for all of it.
Okay.
Right? The people is without God, whatever you call it, however you frame it and flip it, right? And that is just speaking to the uncleanliness of the people. Just the fact of the uncleanliness. This is the devil's playground, my nigga. And that's without a doubt, right? The people had to be shocked into washing hands. The Moors went to Europe and did that how many years ago? But when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? These niggas is Romans, my nigga. If you can't see that.
How do they want to know, how do we prevent forced vaccination, Blue and Ray?
Build up your immunity. You know what I'm saying? Build up your, we got a whole Corona pack coming out tomorrow. I got the sea mosses, right? I got the silver. Okay. We got the gold. Look, we just formulated a product. This is hot off the press. This is infused. It got echinacea. It got silver in it. It has sea moss. It has a whole bunch of things. It got CBG. It got CBD. You dig what I'm saying? We got the Crown's oil for that good crown corona pineal activity. We got the hand sanitizers if that's what you need. You dig what I'm saying? And a few other things coming. So the people have to build up their immunity so you don't fall into that zone when they come around taking temperatures and looking for this and looking for that. Because yeah, all right, there's a mandatory vaccine. You think that they're gonna automatically have 300 plus million of them? You don't get first priority. The old folks got to get first priority. The children, they're gonna try to put it in them. So you're gonna have some time to formulate and think about something. Because if we don't know necessarily how they're gonna roll that out or how it's gonna come, you know, this is when you ever seen Terminator? Yeah, this is when the resistance in the underground was formed. Because there's gonna be a restriction on travel and participation in public events if you don't have the mark of the beast, right? And they're gonna be able to scan your arm for the chip and tell you that money carries the virus, so we gotta go digital. You can't purchase nothing without the chip. You can't travel without the chip. You can't congregate without the chip.
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna have to be able to be carded and accounted for in all social activities. So if you had any reason to separate and to figure some things out, right? In the cloak of darkness, now's the time, right? You remember the movie The Happening? Yeah, you better get behind a wall and figure some things out on your own. Because I can't tell you how to throw the virus off. I mean, throw the vaccine off at this particular moment in time. Because I don't know how they're gonna end up playing it. I can sit here and tell you all of the different scenarios that I'm looking at, but I don't necessarily know how it's gonna play. I just know that they're gonna spook people to such a degree where they're gonna line up and beg for it. I know that. I know they're gonna be fighting for it.
Fighting for it, huh?
Yep.
Throwing bows, knocking teeth out. Right? And they're gonna create a marginalization and a separation in society where they're going to deputize the people who are vaccinated to flip on the people who's not. So that's going to be the new xenophobia. What you see them doing to the Asians, they're going to do that to you if you're not vaccinated. Right? And they're going to be on zombie time because you don't know what that 3-strand DNA chip inside of them is going to make them do. And when they turn on 5G and they sending them signals, you're not going to want to be in public places with these type of folks anymore. Right? So this is the light separation and segregation, and it's going to get super segregated and separated. All right? Because you're not going to want to be around them.
Super facts.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out once again to Red Pill. His presentation is this March 19th. We all want to be sharp in these days and times. And with social distancing happening and taking place, online learning is probably the most important thing you could do right now, especially with the censorship. So, you know, you got to go outside of YouTube and outside of Instagram. Yo, they got some shit on Instagram now where I heard where they're taking people's video down and they're saying deleted by independent fact checkers or something.
Yeah.
Yo, what's that, yo?
And they got it, and they got a cover on certain stories where they'll be like, "This is not a fact." And in order to see the story, you got to click OK.
Oh, wow. Yo, family. So yeah,
going down. It's going down.
This information. Make sure you'll be there, man. This Thursday, March.
We are also an independent streaming network that we have been speaking about for a while. You know what I'm saying? So that streaming network is going to have all of our content as well as other people that are participants in that network where we don't have to worry about what YouTube do. You know what I'm saying? As long as there's an internet signal, you'll be able to observe and consume our content in this new digital era that we're going into.
Indeed. Shout out to Billy Carson and Dame Dash. They was giving me the game on the streaming network. Billy Carson just launched his forbiddenknowledge.tv.
This is dope.
And I'm studying right now, but to be honest, mine's ain't gonna be launched till like 2021 or something like that. I'm gonna take my time. But shout out to Billy Carson, man. He just launched his streaming site and it's doing great so far.
The network in the meantime.
Huh?
You could get a channel on our streaming network because you got content that is not going to be able to live on YouTube.
Yeah, man.
You can transfer that over in the room until you figure out what you're going to do with your thing. You know what I'm saying? And this is the time as well that community has to come together. You know, those of us that have information, that have a message, we're going to have to stick together through this.
Right.
We're going to have to stick together through this.
Yes. My optimistic self is excited because of what the future holds, the probabilities and the possibilities of what the future holds. Meaning that, remember, probabilities, right, exist to whereas multiple possibilities can come true. And we live in a day and time now where the possibility exists where a group of us, powerful thought leaders, visionaries, you know, can come together and can put our ego to the side and we can adapt the we go. When some of my brothers from the paradigm shifters, when we're able to come back together and we're able to bring other brothers and sisters together and we're able to actually build in these days and times by offering solutions, that's what I'm excited. I'm optimistic about that. You know, one of the things that the class on Thursday is going to introduce the students to is some of the possibilities that exist right now that you could be utilizing to tap into the multiple unlimited income streams that exist in the digital realm. I say unlimited, and I really mean that. The long tail exists in the digital realm. There's no limit to what you can tap into with your computer, like Blue said, with an internet signal. And even without without that signal, we're still gonna deal with spiritual technology. You know what I mean? We're still gonna deal with the technology that that is organic to us, our intuition. So make sure you tune in, make sure you're a student in that classroom, and we're gonna chop up some real good game because it's time. It's no better time but the now. So come and get some solutions. You know what I mean? Come and get with, what we're gonna deliver. And we're gonna roll out the app during class on Thursday. We're gonna roll out the streaming app. So y'all are gonna be the first time viewers of it.
Yo, let's wrap this up, family. Closing out. Leave your contact information again, y'all.
Yes, indeed. Money sign PHILMORELAND. That's the Cash App. Money sign Phil Moreland. You can catch me on Melanin Mondays on YouTube at Know the Ledge Media. That's Know the Ledge Media on YouTube. Melanin Mondays, Third Eye Thursdays. All right. Peace.
Yeah. DM me on Instagram at BluePillar44. Like I said, we got the Corona packs rolling out tomorrow with a whole bunch of stuff involved in that particular pack. Also, I'm gonna have some 3-in-1 herbs from Mama Pill dealing with the blood cleaner, the colon needs to open up the colon and nervino for the nervous system. We're gonna have a 3-in-1 combination of that, vitamin C packs. We got the gold, we got the silver, we got the Smart Moors, hand sanitizer. And because I'm in Atlanta and 5 gallon of natural spring water, we're gonna have the waters as well. We're gonna do pickups in Atlanta first. I'm gonna be shipping stuff out, but I want to deal with my immediate environment and the people who need these products that are right here in the A that we can schedule pickups. So I don't really have to be too concerned with the shipping because I don't know how the post office is gonna. I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So we will be, getting that stuff out. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff that has to go out. So we'll be shipping. We'll have more information like come Tuesday, Wednesday, if that's the window. But tomorrow, definitely, we're gonna be doing pickups at Wadata on 878 Ralph David Abernathy in the west end of Atlanta from like 3 to 6 p.m. So you could DM me at BluePillar44. You can email me at BluePillar44 at gmail.com. And of course, for the gold and Smart Morse and the Crown's oil, you can still order it from goldwater.com. That's GOLDEWATER. And like I said, family, this is all about the sun, solar activation, sun energy, gold, okay, and Christ consciousness. So I also have a 44-minute movie coming out called Christ Consciousness, and that's going to be debuting on our streaming service on April 4th, on 4/4/2020, right before the day before the Grand Conjunction. There's another Grand Conjunction that's coming up. Shout out to Ross Ben for preparing us, right? For duly preparing us for all of this energy and this activity by giving us the reading of the year that he did last November when he spoke about these Grand Conjunctions. The first conjunction came on January 12th, and that was talking about global reset of Earth resources. And I'll be damned because no one could figure it out on January 12th when that happened, right? Right, Red? We did a program that's like, yeah, Prince Harry and Markel, they're leaving the Queen, and that's gonna split up her resources. No, there was
Saturn. Yeah, Saturn and Pluto conjunction.
Yeah, there was a bigger play at hand, and it was a global resource reset. So now we have seen the manifestation once more of these cosmic planetary energies. In this pantheon, there's nobody more important than the cosmophysician. Shout out to Raku. Shout out to the decoders. Shout out to the people that can interpret. You know what I'm saying? A Rashid should be speaking directly to the situation with our Jewish brethren in these situations. And, because you're going to have to get into the Kabbalah. You're going to have to get into the occult. You're going to have to decide. Shout out to King Simon and Lord Strayhorn with the numerology. You're going to have to be able to speak a different language right now. because you're not getting it from mainstream media. That stuff they told you is controlled from the White House. The White House is in charge of the dissemination of information pertaining to this situation. And Mike Pence is in charge of that department. So all of this is propagandized information is coming out to save face in an election year.
Right.
They're going to put politics before your life. So you got to know and be able to decipher in real time what you're looking at. When those numbers come across the screen, you got to be able to intercept the information and the messages, because this is how they communicate to one another. They don't call on phones where stuff is recorded and it could end up in the DM from QAnon and them talking about, look, we got the transcripts. That ain't how they do it.
Right.
They communicate through signs and symbols as well. You feel me? Because like, all of these outbreaks, especially in New York, all of them happen in sequence of master numbers. First it was 33, then it was 44, then it was 77. I mean, they was just laying it out there. So please, man, for my people in New York, man, y'all be super woke, super aware, right?
Facts. You left that on? Yeah, you left the website. Yeah. To the brother BR33. Yeah. I got your donation, my brother. Like I said, KT is making a list right now for the fast. For those of y'all that's joining us on the CMOS immune booster fast, but we got over. I think we got over about 500 people that signed up. So it's gonna be like huge, family. But we just getting everything together right now, and I gotta put everybody on the WhatsApp group, and we gotta just this gonna be real good for the family, and it's something that's not just for you. You share this with your family, your children, and you pass it on. You know. So once again, can't shout out to brother KT enough. C3 is sold out right now, but he's restocking on the C3 real soon. So for everybody asking about the C3, he's gonna have the C3 CMOS in stock, and everybody that signs up, I'm gonna send the coupon code to you so you could order directly from the brother KT. But in the meantime, like the brother said, just get CMOS wherever available, but it will be in stock very soon, family. So just stay tuned. Oh, for those who want to know how to sign up, you got to hit up the Cash App with a donation, or if you overseas, the PayPal. But go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, a brother like KT, you know, I meant to also say the health practitioners and the healers, they are gold right now. Somebody like KT, he was divinely prepared for a moment in time like this. You know, if anything were to happen to us and we wasn't around, make sure that you protect KT. Shield that brother, you know, with all of the love and the light and the protection necessary, because he's on the front line, you know what I'm saying? And he's doing a job and a service and a work then in these days and times can be very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Because that brother's coming with all of the information, right? And the white boys come and they say this shit and it goes viral. You dig what I'm saying? So we already know what the community's preference of ingesting information is, right? You got to get it from your zaddy. But for people like the KTs of the world who have that cutting edge information, and he has that computational mind that he can see things and come up with solutions, you know, make sure that you are covering and protecting that young man, right? Do not burn him out. He's necessary and he's needed on the planet right now. Because ain't nobody talking about what KT talking about in the way he's talking about it. And if a white boy was talking about it, he will be doing Tim Robbins numbers. You will be having to pay him $10,000 an hour to speak.
Oh, I'm about to upload this video where they took his game. Some white dude took KT's game.
I already know.
And made a video.
I know what's going on out here.
Yeah.
I be seeing these videos and I see they got 400,000 views on them.
Yeah.
10,000 comments. People going cuckoo because Zaddy said it.
I'm gonna upload it tomorrow, family. I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna show y'all. Took KT's whole game. I'm gonna upload it tomorrow. Let y'all see it. But yeah, so with that being said, man, any last things y'all want to say before we get out of here, y'all?
You know, once again, you know what I'm saying, take this time to go within. Take this time to take personal introspection of, you know, the things that you like about yourself and the things that you don't like about yourself, because you're gonna have to live with yourself. And it's always been known that you got to live with yourself, but we've been having a lot of things to distract us from living with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We don't necessarily, we haven't been forced to live with ourselves until now. Now you're gonna be forced to live with yourself, you know. And if you're able to come to grip in terms and reconcile those things about yourself, you're gonna come out of this supercharged. You know, shout out to my brother Ken. You know, he reminded me after the plague, after the Black Plague, you know, this is when the European came shooting out of Europe and they took over the world.
Yeah.
Right? They took over the world. And in particular, when they conquered the West, right, the Western expanse, their pride was that they conquered a tripartite aspect of something that was never conquered. They said, we conquered the tribes, we conquered their terrain, and we conquered their theology, their God. Right? They went into uncharted territory, and with the zeal and the vigor of which they were just charged up with by coming out of quarantine and coming out of the Black Plague, of which 15 million people died, they said, it must be something special about me. I'm chosen, I'm ordained, and I love my God to the degree that I am going to put everybody else at the sword, right? So their knees could bow and their tongues could confess to the love of the God that I have too. Because I can't even be around a nigga that don't have the same love and respect for the God that I have, that has proven himself to me.
Facts. And look, and their run got ended by the Spanish plague in 1915. But they came out of the Spanish plague swinging. After the Spanish plague cleaned them up, they came out of the Spanish plague and went hard. That's the Roaring 20s.
Right? So the German always powers up after periods like this, right? History has not shown what you niggas gonna throw at the wall, right? So now is the time. This is the proving ground. This is the stage, right? Get it shaken. But look, prepare yourself. And you've been given the tools to tighten yourself up. Tighten yourself up.
Yes. And
yes, hold on, Brad. Yes, you're supposed to put your email in the comment section. Yes, you are supposed to put your email. Go ahead, Ray.
Always keep in mind that in the wilderness of North America, they've utilized biological warfare on multiple occasions. This is nothing that is something that is above them. This is nothing that you can't put past them. You know, the same. Picture this. Picture all of the people that was quarantined in Wuhan got put on, cruise ships, right? And sailed into the borders of America on the West Coast. And then they let all of those people off of the ship. And then those people began to run through the West Coast, coughing on people.
That's what they did.
Breathing on, no, I know that they did that. I'm just saying, look at that concept of it. They emptied out all of the sick hospitals in China, scooped up the people in Korea, and then went and then dumped everybody in America. That's akin to what took place when the Europeans first came into the Americas from the UK and from places like Germany and from other places in like places like Spain and whatnot. They brought those pathogens, they brought those diseases, they brought viruses, they brought plagues with them, right? So now we see a plague that's shutting down borders, shutting down. The plague is not just a plague that's infesting attacking the lungs and whatnot. This plague or this virus is attacking multiple systems. It attacked the economic system as a quote unquote virus. The same way that you have a computer virus. This virus melted the stock market.
Right. So yeah, and let's also be clear. There's also, I said it, there's 3 different corona aspects of going on. I mean, there's really 4, because like I said, there's a corona rising energy. There's a Christ rising energy that you could tap into. You've seen Tyson Fury try to usurp that energy in that ring, right? When he beat on Deontay, try to insert Jesus as a narrative. Say, you don't believe like I believe. My God ain't your God. All hail Jesus. Jesus is king. He got on his Kanye. But there's also a triple aspect of the quote unquote war that China has with the US. It's a trade war, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a war for quantum supremacy and space supremacy, because China has the strongest quantum computer, and he who has the quantum computer, because now what? Has space. There's a space race going on. So they're competing for space. They're competing for Africa, because he who has Africa could get to space. He who has Africa can have the best quantum computers. And then there's a trade war going on. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you have to see, I spoke about the Masonic aspects of the building of Washington, D.C., in which the cornerstone was laid by Benjamin Banneker Bay to align it perfectly with the Sirius star system. Hence the fact that America is it is intricately tied with your cosmic origins, right? That's why this was called the Great Experiment, because it was always meant for you to come over here and for you to become who you're supposed to be according to biblical narrative, right? This is the great experiment. So July 4th is the birthday, coinciding with Sirius, and December 31st / January 1st is the new year, coinciding with Sirius. This is all based on Sirius. You know what I'm saying? So whoever sits in 1600 Pennsylvania Street, the way that they set Washington, D.C. up, he is directly in line with a 555-foot monument called the Washington Monument, which is a phallic symbol and an antenna. So if the president is already of a viral nature, right? Look at his skin, look at his face before this. He's always been a virus. He's a germ man. You know what I'm saying? His mind, his energy emanates throughout the district, throughout the rest of, he's the leader of the free world. So the fact that you would infuriate this man by attempting to assassinate him, a la Julius Caesar, because he is the Caesar of today, right? But he flipped it because Julius Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC by his Senate. Trump was exonerated by his Senate, right? And I already told you Trump is the 44th president because of Grover Cleveland was the 22nd and the 24th. So technically, there was only 40. Trump is the 44th man or president to put his butt in that seat. So his energy emanates around the world. The people that he had beef with and issues with are the people that got attacked first. So if you think that a lot of this is not emanating from his mental space or his mentality, and the fact that he is a virus and he is festering, you know what I'm saying? This is some next level shit that we looking at right here. Because he don't go around, he go around everybody who got this shit and don't catch it, right? He's the source of it. There's no pestilence on this planet that's stronger than the shit that exists in Donald Trump. You feel me? And that's the person who the people are expecting to save them. This is crazy.
Listen, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Brother Rich with Red and Blue Pill. Make sure you support all the platforms, show love, because we don't know what's going to go down with Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all these social media platforms. But in the meantime, y'all stay safe out there. Keep your immune strong. Like I said, the only way out is in. Make sure y'all stay meditated up. Do what y'all got to do. But we out here, family. Peace.
Peace.
Hey.